Hello, my name is Sean Lowry, and I was the founding director of the START Network for almost 9 years. The emergence of the START Network over its first decade is an amazing story, a journey made possible by the contributions of hundreds of people, and a journey that demanded leadership from all of us. Now, I'm thrilled to be with you today, and it's my privilege and honor to announce the START Network Changemakers. Every day around the world, humanitarians bravely oppose the evolution of a disaster in order to save lives and alleviate suffering, and in so doing show the kindness and solidarity in human nature, and this inspires people to make the world a better place. Today, we celebrate the START Network Changemakers who have not only made the world a better place today, but who have worked to make the world a better place tomorrow. START is celebrating changemakers because the world right now needs change. We all feel this. Change happens. Life is change. Human systems constantly evolve. No one controls a system like the humanitarian aid system. It is too complex. But many people and organizations working together can build things that can influence the evolution of the humanitarian aid system in a new direction. Just like piling many sandbags along the edge of a river to divert the flow of water in a new direction. Now, leadership has always been an important part of the story of the START Network. From the very first conversations in London pubs about working together to build something new when the old ways were failing, to the individuals who had to convince their organizations to join the START Network in the first place and to stay on the journey, to the risks that people take in engaging in the struggle to build the START Network over the past decade. In all these ways, START demands leadership from us, and it demands leadership from us in different ways at different times. Here's one example. Those first conversations in London pubs led to a 2-year experiment in collaboration called the Consortium of British Humanitarian Agencies, the CBHA. That experiment exceeded everyone's expectations. But our funding relationship with the government donor was severed in a political decision unrelated to the evidence, and this tipped us into our first great crisis of July 2011. The membership was divided between pragmatists and visionaries. Do we quit or do we invest? Leadership was required, and the visionaries prevailed. But the hard work had just begun. It took a further 30 months of exploring, experimenting, networking, convincing. At times it was very lonely work, but in the end, we prevailed. On Boxing Day 2013, the START Fund was born, and our work to shift power began, and we discovered entirely new ways to finance humanitarian aid work. That crisis demanded leadership, which required courage and tenacity, from which today's START Network emerged, the legacy that you have inherited. I'm pleased to announce the START Network Changemakers as part of START's 10-year anniversary. Alfredo Mahar Lagmay from the University of the Philippines Resilience Center, NOHA Institute, is the changemaker for the category of faster and early action. Ben Ramalingam from the Overseas Development Institute is the changemaker for the category of collective innovation. The Union for Promotion and Protection of Human Rights, Defense, and the Environment is the changemaker in the category of localization. Andrea Coche Mendoza from Maya is the changemaker for the category of puts people first. Jessica Deuherst, the Justice Desk, is the changemaker for the category of brave. And we are unable to identify the next individual from Mercy Corps in Syria, also a changemaker in the category of brave. The Feminist Humanitarian Network is the changemaker in the category of operates collectively. Heba Abu Jarbo from Islamic Relief Palestine is the changemaker for the category of inclusive. Jahin Shams from Uttaran is the changemaker for the category of open. Rice Watch Action Network is the changemaker for the category of lasting systemic change. And finally, Mrs. Bouba Aeisatu from the Cameroon Indigenous Women's Forum is the changemaker for the category of Impactful Leader. Now, in addition to the overall changemakers, a number of people received special mentions. Please see a full list of all those honored on the START Network website. I'm now pleased to hand over to Mrs. Bouba Aeisatu, START Network's Impactful Leader Changemaker, who will deliver a keynote address. Thank you.
I am Ms. Bouba Aeisatu. I am the National Coordinator of Cameroon Indigenous Women Forum. We work with moral pastoralist women and forest women in Cameroon. I am nominated for the START Network Changemaker Impact Leader category. I am so delighted, and I am thanking START Network for this wonderful nomination to recognize our good work in our community. And I would like here today to share my experience as a leader, especially being an indigenous women leader in my community. Thank you so much. We have set up Cameroon Indigenous Women Forum in Cameroon to empower the Mororo women, educate the young girls so that they can stand up for themselves. The members of this organization have been one-time victims of gender-based violence during their childhood. There are so many women and girls in that community who are still suffering, who are still under bondage. For me, as a leader in my community, being a leader and a woman leader, it is not an easy task because women are not given that chance to lead. So I have had a lot of difficulties during this period when we were setting up Cameroon Indigenous Women Forum, because some men think that we are coming to challenge them. And so we have tried very hard to make sure that we stand firm to our objective, so that we continue to lead in our community and to bring a positive change in this community. When I was in primary school, my family members thought that I have to drop out from school to get married. And it was a very difficult moment for me. I was traumatized, and nobody could talk to me. And my father was really behind me. He encourages me. And it even came a moment that nobody could talk to my father, even to talk to me. So it was very difficult at that moment, but we tried. I managed to continue my education despite the difficulties that I had at that time. And I took it as a challenge to say that even though I have had these difficulties, they thought that I have to get married, but I think I have to go to school, and then I will come back to the community and prove to them that educating the girl child is very important, because if you educate the girl child, you are educating the community, the society as a whole. And so this really motivated me to pursue my education right up to the university level. Everybody is like looking on us, because I am a leader. Everybody is looking on me, Aeisatu. When there is a problem, everybody know that Aeisatu is there. We are talking about gender-based violence. People are calling from one area to the other. There is a case of early and forced marriage somewhere. They need your intervention. Even in the night, sometimes I receive phone calls people call and expose their problems, and you as a leader, you have to react. You have to do something, because if you don't do something, even you don't have the means, at least even you are you have to present, you have to be there to talk to the person, even to assure the person and so on. Somebody who have been violated, a woman who have been raped and so on and so forth, you need to talk to that person. You need to build her morals. I mean, you should make her feel that she is not alone. So those are the type of things that we as leaders we usually face. So I think as a leader, first of all, you need to have that passion. You need to have that passion. You need to take that risk. As a leader, you need to take the risk. You need to do something that the other person have not yet done. You have to bring a change. You need to make sure that what you are doing is changing the life of someone, bringing an impact in a community, so that everybody should feel free. Everybody should feel that I am okay, I am good. So those are the type of things that a leadership really requires. You are doing something that another person cannot do. You are putting your energy, you are putting your time, you are putting even your resources to do all those type of things. So as a leader, you need to stand firm. You need to stand firm to do those things. You need to take the risks and the sacrifice to do all this work that we are doing, because it is not an easy task for us as a leader. When I started, I was working alone, and I realized that I could not prosper. So I get into some national networks, and I realized that I have learned so much. There are certain things that I didn't know before, and then as we are working together, we become more stronger. Our voices are being heard. So I think we need to continue to work together. We need to build networks even at the national level itself, getting into the regional level. Why not at the international level? Because when we are at the international level, also we are going to work with more experienced organizations who have had a lot of impact, and then we are going to learn also from them, and then we'll bring back also to our country and bring back to our community to continue to work to help these women and girls, so that they can stand up for themselves, they can stand up and talk also for themselves, defend also their rights. So we will continue to give them the voice to speak for themselves. And I think we also need to the mobilization also of resources. As I have said, the resources need to go to the grassroots. It needs to go to the grassroots, because that's where the problems are. Because when the resources are concentrated at the national level, nothing goes to the communities. So I think as leaders too, we need to see how we can build those small organizations in the community level and support them, give them the funding to organize their programs, their activities, to continue to empower the community at the local level. I think it will be a very good achievement. It doesn't mean that the help is coming from us. As a leader, we have connections with other organizations. We have connections maybe with the government, with other partners, and so on. And so from there, we can see how we can help these people. We need to work together as a team. We need to team up, because when we are together, we become more stronger. So we have to work as we have to come as a network, as a coalition, to make sure that we push our agenda forward, so that it can really impact our community members, so that they too can stand up and enjoy their fundamental human rights. Thank you.
I'm Hazel Tanchuling. I'm the Executive Director of Rice Watch Action Network. We are a national organization based in the Philippines. I am a changemaker. I was a, we were, sorry, the organization was selected as a changemaker for the lasting systemic change category. So let me start off with a little history on Rice Action Network. So we were formed back in the early 2000. We started as an advocacy network, mainly on a very issue-specific topic, like we opposed the rice liberalization back in the early 2000s. So we are a very small organization. So after that, we became more strategic in our concerns. So we pushed for sustainable farming in the Philippines.
Yes.
And then from then on, we developed our program. We started our climate resiliency field schoolwork and the localization of climate services only in 2009. So at that time, there were very little early warning for agriculture. Most of the early warning systems were for general, generic, like tropical cyclones, flood early warnings. There was really no work, to warn farmers to reduce damage and losses in the agriculture sector. So that's how we got into, that's the short history of R1. The Philippines is always in the top five in terms of risk index. So, and if you look at the damages and losses of um, climate-related events, for example, such as tropical cyclones and even droughts, you would see that the biggest impact fall heavily on the livelihoods, particularly agriculture and fisheries.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something about it. So at least to help farmers achieve resilience, that we were thinking now that's where we should start, just to reduce losses and damages in the sector. Actually, when we started, it was not really, we were not really into that, responding to disasters immediately.
Yeah.
As I said, we started as an advocacy organization. But with Super Typhoon Haiyan, back in 2013, our partners also requested us to help in the recovery assistance to the different project sites or affected areas of Typhoon Haiyan. So that was our first experience, especially in responding to climate-related disasters. We work with communities, so we also do work in the budget. We do budget advocacy at the national and even at the local level. So that's why we're also trying to influence, assisting local governments in their local climate change action planning, so that, all the climate resilient agriculture interventions that we want to the communities to adopt can be supported and sustained by the local governments. So that's how we want to, make it a lasting change. It's an honor also to be selected by the Start Network on the occasion of their 10th anniversary. So happy anniversary, Start Network.
Je suis Meshak Nakanywenge, coordinateur de l'ACL IPDDHE, qui est Union pour la promotion ou protection, la défense des droits humains et l'environnement, créé en 2010 et avons commencé les activités proprement dites en 2013. Et nous qui vivons, nous qui sommes nés dans cette zone de l'Est de la RDC, nous avons vu comment les guerres ont commencé depuis 1990. Nous avons vu les défis auxquels nos communautés ont pu faire face. Donc, nous avons grandi dans des contextes difficiles et vraiment pour l'humanitaire, je n'ai jamais dit que je peux laisser, même si des fois on affronte des difficultés terribles. Des fois, on arrive dans des zones où on n'a pas accès à la communication, on n'a pas l'accès aux infrastructures routières. On est obligé de marcher sous la pluie dans des boues et dans des situations où vous traversez des groupes armés qui sont sans morale, sans instruction et avec un esprit vraiment inhumain. Mais on s'est dit, qu'est-ce que je suis venu faire? C'est pour chercher à aider quelqu'un qui est en difficulté. Et donc, je n'ai jamais dit ça, malgré les contextes difficiles dans lesquels nous travaillons en RDC. Et surtout que notre État se focalise surtout sur l'aspect politique et met peu d'importance sur l'aspect humanitaire. Donc là, on se retrouve en train de nous dire, quand on n'a pas de fonds d'un partenaire qui nous finance, là, on se dit qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire de nous-mêmes avec nos propres initiatives. Et là, c'est là où vraiment les choses marchent de plus en plus mal. Et c'est là où les autres disent non, non, nous laissons ça, nous cherchons un emploi ailleurs, nous cherchons d'autres affaires. Mais si on résiste, on se dit non, non, on doit parvenir à aider une personne qui est en difficulté. Voilà un peu, je peux dire là.
My name is Ben Ramalingam. I'm a Senior Research Associate at the Overseas Development Institute in London. And I'm based in Brighton in the UK. And I'm a change maker for collective innovation, as you say. In the last year, I've been doing a lot of work on the COVID response. A few different elements of the COVID response, which have really emerged for me. So one has been to assemble the evidence as quickly as possible and put it out for the humanitarian sector. So in March, actually we started the process before. So in January, I actually reached out to some people and started to network together. And then in March, when it was clear that a pandemic was going global, I assembled a team from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, from the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, and from the University of Geneva. And we had a 4-person team, and we synthesized and analyzed all the available evidence on previous pandemics and on COVID itself. And by the end of April, had put out evidence-based protocols for humanitarians to use wherever they were. And that was a 60-page paper. It's been downloaded many thousands of times. It's been used in hundreds of countries around the world. And it wasn't expected, but that kind of, the need to do real-time operational learning in emergency settings, I think is really important. That's something I see myself continuing to do. And in that context, and I'm not a public health specialist, although I have worked in disease and epidemics, but that was myself as a crisis leadership specialist and innovation specialist, working with doctors and medics and public health specialists, and be able to bring something together. And that's a really important kind of example of the kind of things that I want to carry on doing. The second thing is actually about formalizing innovation and harnessing it. And this is something that I'm doing quite a lot of, again, with COVID. I've been advising the OECD DAC, the Development Assistance Committee, on how to strengthen innovation in the age of COVID. And there's a few events coming up. We've done a lot of operational work on different kinds of innovations. And what we found is that in the wake of COVID, the kinds of innovations that we're seeing tend to be either small scale kind of adaptations to what's already going on, so incremental innovations or technological innovations. But there's a real gap in terms of engaging with bottom-up innovations that are coming from communities themselves. There's a real gap in terms of forward-looking innovations that look to the future and say, And there are some mission-driven innovations, looking at big picture challenges, and the most obvious ones are vaccines and ventilators, but there's a need for more kinds of, so I kind of feel like we need to move away from innovation management towards innovation leadership. And innovation leadership is not saying, how do we do innovation right? It's asking the question, what are the right innovations to be doing? What should we be focusing our attention on? And this is something that I feel needs to happen within the sector in a more central way. And I think innovation needs to be seen as a core leadership competency for the next 10 years. If a CEO or an operations director doesn't have innovation in their mindset, then I think that should be seen as a really critical gap. But the second area that I think where I would really want to see more change, and this is the harder one really, is in the role and the position of disaster affected communities. And I would love, and again, this speaks to the innovation piece, because all of the most transformative innovations we've seen in the last 10 years of the START network, and even before then, all of them have come about because of a shift in how aid organizations see affected communities. Specifically, they moving away from seeing them as helpless victims to being entrepreneurs, to being capable individuals, communities that lead their own recovery.
My name is Alfredo Mahar Lagmay. I'm a professor at the University of the Philippines National Institute of Geological Sciences. And at the same time, I'm also the executive director of the University of the Philippines Resilience Institute, with the nationwide operational assessment of hazards as its core component. The acronym for the nationwide operational assessment of hazards is NOAA, which has been around for 8 years already. My role is here in the Philippines is to lead I'd like to call it, or try to develop an army of disaster scientists. So basically, my work has been involved with getting to ground zero and studying the lessons learned from each and every disaster. So every disaster, we do some forensic science, and we help in the search and rescue efforts. So in short, maybe since we are using all the time the scientific method, we would like to call ourselves, and myself included, as disaster scientists. I don't think the hazards will stop because they are natural. What is not natural are disasters, because they are a result of poor planning. That means that you did not collect enough data, you did not process the data, you did not find out the hazards based on those data, the hazards that are present in your area. And, if you are not ready because you did not plan, then a disaster will happen. When you make, when you prepare for, let's say, a hazard, just preparing for go bags or first aid kits or knowing what to do during an earthquake, it's too late. The preparation must come long in advance, and the preparation must be laid out in a map. It must be laid out in documents, proper plans of what every individual should do during a disaster, and how to be able to address it, stem it in the bud, so that you don't try to address those things that you don't need to address anymore.
True.
Because you planned well. And I think that is the true meaning of early action.
Hola, yo soy Andrea Coche Mendoza, soy Maya Tsutujil de aquí de Guatemala. Trabajo para la organización Asociación Maya, que se encuentra ubicado en el departamento de Sololá, Guatemala, y yo soy una Changemaker en priorizar a las personas. Yo vengo de una familia que de alguna manera ha sido muy proactiva en la comunidad. Mi madre fue una de las pocas mujeres que pudo ir a la escuela, que solo llegó a sexto primaria, pero para mis abuelos era tan importante ir a la escuela para romper el ciclo de pobreza y discriminación que ellos vivían. Y yo escuchaba muchas de esas historias. De alguna manera quería honrar el sueño de mis abuelos de cambiar la vida de sus hijos y de sus nietos. Ellos hicieron todo lo posible para que mi madre fuera a la escuela, y al tener ella esta oportunidad de ir a la escuela, pues también eso hizo que ella se volviera parte de las mujeres que estaban trabajando por la comunidad. Ha trabajado toda su vida en salud comunitaria, y pues desde que yo era adolescente yo iba mucho en las actividades que ella hacía, en hacer como campañas de nutrición, campañas de salud para la mujer, pues bueno, muchas cosas que tienen que ver con salud comunitaria. Y yo me la pasaba trabajando de voluntaria con ella, y más la conexión con esto de las historias de mi familia, de la propia historia de pobreza de mi familia, de la propia historia de cambio de mi familia, pues fue creciendo mucho en mí en la idea de querer estudiar algo que me apoyara en seguir por este camino, ¿no? Tanta situación que llegué a ver que fue creciendo mucho en mí mi pasión de querer seguir trabajando en tema comunitario, pero quería enfocarme en el tema de mujer, ¿no? Entonces fue ahí que en toda esta mi búsqueda que me encontré con Maya, y pues estoy aquí. Para mí, estar en Maya es muy importante, es mi pasión, es parte de mi vida. Llevo 10 años colaborando con ellos porque muchas de las niñas que están en el programa están haciendo un camino similar a la que muchas de nosotros hicimos. Maya está liderada por un equipo de mujeres que venimos de situaciones de pobreza, de discriminación, pero que con todo lo que tuvimos en el camino logramos llegar hasta aquí. Somos la mayoría las primeras en ir a la universidad, y por eso es que eh, te sonaba el tema de mi compañera Lidia, yo, mi compañera Norma, Vilma, muchas de nosotras venimos de situaciones similares en cómo están las adolescentes ahora. Entonces es como si yo pude, tú puedes. Nuestro camino ha sido similar. Maya tiene muy presente el tema del modelo, que si lo ves, lo logras, y si tienes un modelo y si tienes una mentora que te acompaña, pues es mucho más fuerte. Creo que por ahí viene mi pasión. Creemos firmemente que cuando le damos la oportunidad a una mujer en formarse, su impacto es infinito, desarrolla potencialidades, desarrolla soluciones. Ella es parte de la solución, pero hay que abrir esas puertas, hay que crear como esos sistemas que ayudan a sostenerla. Entonces, creo que por ahí viene un poquito mi historia con Maya. Entré muy joven con ellos hace 10 años, y sí, y hemos construido toda esta organización ahora junto con mis compañeras, y eso también me hace sentir orgullosa porque en mi país es mucho de que las mujeres indígenas es para trabajar perdón, en servicio doméstico. Las mujeres de mi país, sobre todo indígenas, están relegadas a roles tradicionales que perpetúen sistemas de pobreza. Y nosotras queremos demostrar y estamos demostrando que no es así, que la vida es mucho más que eso, que hay mucho más oportunidades y que nosotras también podemos cambiar el mundo.
I am Jahin. I work in a national NGO called Uttaron in Bangladesh. My role in this organization is as I work as a program development specialist. So I write, and I also manage my programs, some of the programs that particularly related to climate change and environment and disaster, humanitarian work. So that's how I got involved with Start Fund and Start Network. And I am based in, at the moment, I'm based in the southwest part of Bangladesh, which is near the coastal part of Bangladesh. And for this Changemaker, the 10-year anniversary, I'm being nominated as a Changemaker for the open category. So I'm really excited and honored to be able to receive this the Changemaker Award, and I'm really excited to be able to sit with you and talk through this interview. Thank you so much. I'll start from my undergrad times. So during my undergraduation, I started working as a volunteer for Uttaran. I was doing humanitarian because Uttaran, being a local organization, had a lot of field stuff, quality stuff, but didn't have a lot of people who could write the things that they were doing. So I, being a private university student, knowing good English or like decent English, I could write. So I decided, like, why not let them do the field work? I'll start writing, and that's how it started. So when I started writing, I saw that there are a lot of things that you could improve on. There are a lot of things that you could work on. So after I finished my undergrad, I started joining Uttaran as a program officer, and from there on, it was because we work in such a disaster-prone area, the southwest part, where you have cyclones, flooding, waterlogging, riverbank erosion. Like, these four are the most common disasters that you face every day, and there are other disasters as well. So because of that, so there was every day, even if you're doing a lot normal development work, every day there is a new disaster. So you have to be involved in this. And from my understanding, that when I was growing up, my upbringing, my parents, they taught me one thing only, and that was integrity. The three most important thing in life is integrity, and integrity. Wow. So, and that's what I tried to do when I came to work. And I've been involved with Start Network, let's say, for a year, for more than a year, for a couple of years now, for 2 years. So in 2019, our organization got selected to be a part of Start Fund Bangladesh, which is a part of Start Network. And we are one of the 47 organizations that is a part of this network in Bangladesh. So our job here was that in terms of any localized disasters, we can respond, we can raise an alert. So being an environmental science student and a climate change student, I knew very well that how to write this. So I started writing proposals for Uttaran, and we got 4 proposals so far, 4 alerts, 4 funding. So it's good and in all of those 4 fundings, I tried to ensure that, like, for example, I'm designing proposals not only for me. Like, when I'm writing the alert note, I'm writing it for the whole area. So multiple people can submit the projects. So I coordinate, I openly tell other agencies that, look, I am going to respond here. Please let us divide the area so there will be no conflict, there will be no overlapping. And also I've helped other small local organizations, like, who normally would not get a chance to, to have a participation in this. So I've helped them and make sure that their area is not competed. So, and I've told others, and openly told others, that they are the organization, they're young organization, they're coming up. So let us help them, give them a chance, because we are we're a network. It's not only about the money, it's also about growing together and contributing, in a good effort in the humanitarian sector. So I think that's one of the reasons for me being nominated in the open category.
My name is Hiba. I work at Islamic Relief Palestine as Quality Assurance Officer, where I'm the Protection and Inclusion Focal Point. I live in Gaza Strip, and it's the most density place in the whole world. And there's a lot of challenges in here, and as I've told you before, that I am a refugee, and refugees in the Gaza Strip are around 70% of the whole population, and at the same time, there's a high percentage of unemployment. Food security is in high percentage as well. Lots of challenges, food insecurity, unemployment, restrictions on movement. You cannot go outside of the Gaza Strip unless you're given the permission to do something outside the Gaza. Otherwise, you will never go. I'm 38, and luckily I had the chance to go outside Gaza for the first time ever last year, and it was like an amazing experience. Hearing the misery and the stories of those widowed women once makes us like to be like a change maker, to change their lives to the better. I mean, I even in the neighborhood where I live, and I live in a camp. I mean, I've been approached to assist women who are like in need of help. I take it as a personal commitment to do such a change. People belonging to marginalized groups, including girls and women, as well as with persons with disability, can only be welcomed and included in projects and organizations if we really believe in their capabilities. Change in attitude is never an easy task. I mean, you have to like be surrounded with people who back you up. And it's something really important, because they have to believe with the same principles that you believe in, so that all efforts are combined and to do like to achieve the same objectives and reach the same solutions. And thank you so much for believing in my achievements and to celebrate me and nominate me as a change maker. Thank you so much. It's really an honor to have to be named as a change maker.
Hi, my name is Jessica Deuherst. I'm the founder and CEO of an award-winning human rights organization called the Justice Desk. We fight for fundamental human rights and empower everyday activists across South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And I am the change maker in the brave category. You know, being a white South African, that came with a lot of privilege. And I wanted to do something with that privilege. So we started the Justice Desk, which focuses on empowering, educating, and equipping everyday people to be human rights defenders. So we work in communities where we will educate and train and upskill everyday people, not just the lawyers and the social workers and the humanitarians, everyday person, to take these very arbitrary human rights and laws that no one can really ever understand unless you have a PhD, to take those and make it real in the lives of the people who actually need it the most, which is in grassroots communities. So we do advocacy and lobbying at both national and international levels. We do training and education in multiple communities across the 3 countries. And we do community empowerment programs, which where we support, mentor local community members who are trying to address a particular issue in their community. We have 3 of those programs currently. One is called the Umbokoro Club, which stands for the Rock Club. The slogan is Watinda Bafazi, Watinda Mkoto, which stands for you strike a woman, you strike a rock. And that program is for girl survivors of rape and gender-based violence from the murder capital of South Africa, which is Nyanga. South Africa is experiencing a femicide. The amount of women and girls who are murdered here on a daily basis equal that of countries at war. And we are not at war with another country, but men have declared war on women and girl children in South Africa. So to address gender-based violence and to support these young girls who are survivors, we have an incredible program that teaches them self-defense and boxing and fitness, but also female empowerment, confidence building, entrepreneurship skills, sexual health rights. And then they also get mental health care and support. And they're incredible leaders who are going out to change the world. We have another project called Nsika Yatemba, which is for young boys. South Africa is known as the fatherless nation because more boys don't have fathers than those that do. And we have a very toxic culture of toxic masculinity in the country. So it's a project for young boys to redefine what it means to be a man. It's for young men who choose not to be abusers, but who choose to be protectors, who choose to build up women, to stand up for the rights of women, and to build better, more equal societies. And then the third project is our Youth Ambassadors program, where we're in 40 schools across the 3 countries, and we have 80 plus something ambassadors who are young people who we train and equip to be incredible leaders and change makers in their schools and in their communities. And they're doing things like catching human traffickers and abolishing tampon tax and convincing parents and leaders of communities to end child marriage, and they're convincing communities to send their girls to school. And these are all kids under the age of 18. So I'm obsessed with them. I'm literally obsessed with them. They're so incredible. One of the major changes that I would like to see is leaders and community members not being prevented from holding positions of power and leadership. A lot of the time, we'll have external people come into a community and tell the community what's wrong in the community. And I'm completely against that. I believe that the true experts in a community as to what those issues are and how to solve those issues is the community itself, are those community members. So what we need to do is we need to empower, equip, and support those community members to lead their own change, to be the ones spearheading humanitarian work, to be the ones making decisions and not external people making decisions on behalf of community members. So a big shift I would like to see is more emphasis placed on building trust and trusting and respecting those who are the true experts as to what these issues are, which are community members and those who are experiencing these problems in grassroots communities.
Hi, so I'm Anu Pillay. I'm in South Africa, just a little bit out of Johannesburg. And I'm a member of the Feminist Humanitarian Network. We've been nominated for the Operates Collectively Award. And my role on the Feminist Humanitarian Network is to be, I'm on the steering committee. So this is the committee that is kind of the core group that makes decisions for the network collectively based on consultations with our members. Well, the Feminist Humanitarian Network is a collective of organizations, of women's organizations, women-led organizations around the world, national. We have a commitment to be 70% local organizations and 30% international. Many are individual members, but mostly I think our organizations, women's rights organizations and women-led organizations, all are working in humanitarian settings. Although now with COVID, I think we can safely say that everybody's working in a humanitarian situation. We come together around issues pertaining to the work that we're doing in the humanitarian work, but our objective is to transform the humanitarian system into working in a more feminist way with feminist principles and from an approach that is inclusive, collaborative, and which actually acknowledges and rewards, the work that is done at the ground level, the local level, and shifting power to that level rather than it being the top-down way that it works at the moment.
I guess the network was established to respond to challenges, and I'd say that since we've been working together, the challenges, we've had so much strength, I guess, in the ways that we've worked, and I think over the last year we've really seen much stronger solidarity and collective action, as Anu was mentioning. These are things that as the Feminist Humanitarian Network really committed to, and I think we've really seen that grow over the course of the last year, and more members have come on board, and we've had a number of conversations that are both personal and political, and I think that's something that our members reflect on, is that within the Feminist Humanitarian Network itself, we have a lot of trust, and so we're able to talk about the challenges that we all experience individually within the network, and together feel that as a collective we can support each other to overcome them. And so part of what we're focused on is really kind of learning from each other and learning, well, particularly and specifically from the women's rights organizations we work with who do establish challenges to the, establish solutions to the challenges that the humanitarian system presents for them. And so I think what we try and do is kind of share what those solutions are so that other members kind of find strength in that.
In the next 10 years, with the level at which we are working, with the commitment, the passion, all hands out to Holly, Anu, and all the amazing women at the international and local level, I definitely see that this feminist humanitarian network going to impact the humanitarian system. We are going to see more women at that highest level of decision making within the humanitarian system. We're going to see a lot of collaboration with women-led organizations. We're going to see a lot of innovation that have been led by women-led organizations recognized. We're going to see women-led organizations at the decision-making table articulating the issues that affect them. They know how it affects them. They know how to respond to it. We're going to see community building back better. Because when you invest in local actors, community build back better because they are empowered to address the issue after disaster. They are there when disaster happen. They are there doing before disaster and they remain after disaster. So we're gonna see a shift, not just within the humanitarian system, but even within the development system, within countries. We're gonna see that people are gonna be empowered to build back. People are gonna own humanitarian work as it is something that everybody's supposed to get up to work, not to wait for a Western ideas. We're gonna see more local ideas at the decision-making table. So within the next 10 years, Feminist Humanitarian Network going to positively influence the humanitarian system, and the humanitarian system going to experience a shift, and that shift going to be beneficiary to all people, refugees, LGBTIQ, and local women, traditional women. It's going to impact their life, and it's going to shift the economy of the world.